we are going to talk about today something that every single coach in the entire world will want to talk about. And that is, how do you actually land a high ticket client, a high paying client? You know, so maybe your last client was lower than you would like. And so we're going to talk about what are the three critical ingredients to actually landing and consistently landing a high paying client. We're talking 25 grand or more, because if you were to think about how would $25,000 or $50,000 or more than that, how would that impact your life right now if you got that in your bank account today? How would that change your week and some of the stressors that you have in your life? It could be pretty significant. So we're going to talk about that today. You don't want to miss that. But before we jump into that, we have a masterclass coming up in less than a week that actually is a critical part of landing a high ticket client. So Faisal, do you want to share just briefly about that masterclass and how people can register for that before we dive into the meat and the nitty gritty of today?
Yes, for sure. We are really excited for this masterclass because we've been working on this in the background quite a bit, and we've actually gathered a lot of the data around what actually works out in sales in the coaching world. And in the discovery call strategy session, or the first major call that you have with your clients to demonstrate coaching, to make your offer, or to just demonstrate the coaching piece of it and support them and understand how you can support them. We've actually gathered data from several successful coaches within our community, and also models that are promoted outside, and brought the data together in one model to support you. So it's based on a lot of experience. We've taught this before, it's just refined a lot more now. We've been working on it in the background, so it'll give you a system, a framework that actually works to get high ticket clients, upwards of $46,000, $50,000 clients that you can get out of this. So now you can also use that for clients you're going to charge $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for a package as well, because the process is similar. It's just that it's based on a lot of the experience and data. It's going to be on Monday, October 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join. If you haven't registered yet, type #delivery below, because it is on delivering sessions that sell. And if you're listening to this on the podcast outside somewhere, we've probably either already done this or we are going to do another version of this. So let us know. Some of you have let us know on YouTube channel, #delivery, and we've connected you on Facebook. If you're not connected to us on Facebook or somewhere, just let us give us an email there, or just let us know. You can contact us in one of the channels below. It has to be a social media channel, because on YouTube we can't reach out to you. But yeah, we're excited to do that session. It'll be a 2-hour deep dive. We're going to go through exactly what we do at different timeframes in the session for a 2-hour discovery call. And you can adapt it to what you're doing and experiment with it, and you will gain a lot of results out of it.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this because, as Faisal mentioned, this is a slightly refined version of the ones we've done in the past. And if you've gone to school and have done any sort of research, you know, my background is a psychologist. I had to learn how to do research. I had to learn how to do meta-analysis and do all these sorts of fancy things. This is like a meta-analysis for strategy sessions. We are taking the existing strategies at work and we're melding them into a kind of a unified strategy that takes into account all of these different nuances. And so I'm excited. I am so excited for this masterclass. So it's going to be good. You don't want to miss it. And again, if you actually do miss it, you do have an opportunity for the replay. So continue to reach out to us and we'll get it to you. All right. So today we're going to talk about, so what are those three kind of main ingredients for landing a high ticket client, a client that's willing to actually pay like $25,000 to work with you or more? So there's three main ingredients. We're going to unpack those ingredients for you today. The first one is about relationship. Faisal, do you want to start with that one?
Yes, and this would be my favorite part. It's actually the reason why I'm in the coaching business, because I actually want to build relationships with people. So if you don't like people, if you don't want to build relationships with people, if you're annoyed constantly by people, probably not the right business to be in, because you will be dealing with people a lot
Yes.
on a day-to-day basis, multiple times a day, going into different areas, going some going much deeper, with others not so much. And generally speaking, business is a people's world. But coaching business is even more intimate and goes much more deeper in there. So that's my favorite piece of it. So everything that you're going to do in the business world, also specifically in the coaching world, starts with a relationship. And that relationship occurs within the context of a network, within the container of a network. So you might start with a network that you're a part of. So, and that would be the biggest caveat. So a lot of the reasons why people can charge more is actually because of their network. They might have the similar skill set as you, but they might have access to a different network where they can charge. Not fully true, because you still need certain networks that you're a part of, you need a different set of skills to support them to move forward. But if you have a better network, for example, if the network that you're a part of, people can afford coaching better, you will have an easier time selling coaching, higher ticket coaching packages, versus a network where there are people who might not be able to afford it. So that's something to keep in mind. So it starts with building a relationship with somebody within the context of a network. This is one of the reasons why we tell coaches to go talk to a lot of people, support a lot of people, because every time you talk to somebody, you're getting into a network of people. You
Yes.
never know who you will connect with in the process. So it starts with building a relationship, which means that you're building connection, trust with somebody. If you don't have trust, if you don't have connection, if you don't have credibility, it doesn't matter how great you are in what you do, people will not want to invest in your thing. It doesn't matter how great your system is. It doesn't matter how great it is, because that's just human nature. We need to trust somebody before we invest any kind of time, effort, energy, money, or anything else. So it starts with that.
And so when you think about relationships and think about the last maybe 10 strategy sessions you've had, think about those people that you had those strategy sessions with in terms of temperature. This is common to think about in sales. When you have a potential lead, a potential client, are they hot? Are they warm? Or are they cold? And we're not talking about their blood type or, they're not amphibians. We're talking about how much do they know, like, and trust you, as Faisal was talking about. And so if they really don't know you, now, so as example, Faisal has been doing this add-on strategy to his clients or to his lead flow in doing reach outs in LinkedIn. And these are reach outs to people that probably have never heard of him. He's not really heard of them, but he's identifying them as a potential good fit for a client, and he's reaching out and he's starting to build a conversation. And so some of the clients that you might be jumping on a strategy session with that have accidentally come into your world, or maybe you accidentally ran into them, but they don't really know you. They don't really know what you do. They don't know people that know you. Those are cold leads. And those are typically the hardest ones to convert when they're cold. So if you think about it in the context of a relationship, you want to warm them up. You want them to get to know you. And through the getting to know you and experiencing your coaching and what you're about and your philosophy and how you interact and your personality and all these things, they get to warm up. And that's where they are much more likely to be able to kind of raise their hand and say, okay, yeah, I'm willing to be a client. The warm clients or the hot clients are the ones that already are in your network, as Faisal was talking about. So that is the easiest or the simplest, maybe that's not the right word, but when you think about your potential clients, those are the ones that are kind of the low-hanging fruit, the ones that they already know you. And especially if you can get a referral, from somebody that is a client or was a client, and they're like, they vet you for you. So like, you don't have to try to convince the other person that you can help them, but somebody else already did. That's like moves them from warm to hot, probably. So these are all things to think about in the context of relationship. The more warm, the more experience, the more trust they have in you, the warmer or hot they are as a client, and the more likely they are willing to kind of put their credit card in or give you money for the impact that you can do.
Yeah. And so a couple of things to understand there, and I want to stress on one of the points that I made before, is that a lot of coaches that I've met, especially if they're starting out or they're in beginning stages, they might be really good coaches, but they're in the wrong network. They're going after clients who probably need therapy. They probably need a different kind of support. They're probably not in a space where they're even ready psychologically for something like coaching, because coaching is much more forward driven. It's much more action oriented. It's much more challenge oriented. They might be just in the processing stage of their life. They might not be in the self-actualizing stage of their life. And so they're kind of doing that. You can still support people at that level, but they're not ready for what you think they're ready. And also financially, they're not ready. So it seems much more difficult. So if you're a coach who's doing that, and I know I'd say 8 out of 10 coaches that I've talked to, they are in those kind of networks. And initially, even your own network might be like that. So watch out for that. And it feels difficult. That's normal. That's why you need to do enough networking to get connected to better networks, so you can actually support them. And then the cold, warm, hot leads are very important. So for example, even the cold leads, I didn't realize how amazing that is, because I'm having fun with it now. It's become more of a game for me. It's like, how can I refine these conversations better? So I have an automation going on LinkedIn, which reaches out to people. It's like a campaign. It'll send one message. If they don't respond 2 days later, it'll send another message. And out of all the hundreds of people, you reach out to, a few will respond. Out of a few that respond, only a few will book a call with you. So I've had 6 calls so far, all intro calls. One of them has translated into a strategy session that actually finished yesterday, and he's interested in learning more about the program, which I never thought this would go in this direction, because I hadn't done enough cold calls in the past, but this was interesting. And then another one I met yesterday, and this was very interesting. We talk about credibility and like, know, and trust. I didn't know the guy at all. And one of the things I started doing because I know a few people in the industry, people who are prominent influencers. And I'll say that, hey, and they'll be like, okay, what do you do? Like, well, I got involved in coaching. Do you know this person that I got involved with them? And then I will just mention a few influencers that I've been involved with and I've supported them. And I just went through like 5 different people that are prominent that I mentioned it. I'm like, this is the kind of coaching that I do. Do you know anybody that would want my services in your network? And the do you know part I got from Alex Hormozy. I really like that strategy. So I didn't tell him, like, do you want to be part of my coaching? He's like, do you know anybody who would want? Because we're just networking at that point. And he paused. He's like, you know what? We do these calls where we do like underwriting every week. We have 100 or so people showing up. It kind of surprised me too. So I think it would be really cool for you to jump on and just do a call and make an offer. And this is the first time somebody has said it. I mean, I'm like, he's like, do you do any kind of affiliate stuff? I'm like, yeah, well, it depends what level. If you help me make the offer right there on the call, you would get, let's say, 20-something% out of that. But if I just take that client and I take them through my sales cycle, then you will get 10%, because it requires a little bit more effort. Like, what are your thoughts about it? He's like, well, I would want to get my team involved, but if we can put together something where 100 or so people come in and you make your offer, and this will serve our community. But this just came from a guy that I just met. Now, I don't know where this is going to go. And he said that I want to get on a call with my team to see if we can make this happen. But that was a surprise for me. And
That's
so
awesome.
out of 6 calls, one person has actually already moved through my sales cycle. The other person wants me to connect with their whole network. And there's one other person who's gotten a lot of value. I'm in conversation with them. This is only about 6 calls that I've done. And that's a cold lead in a network. So now when you go to warm lead, especially as you start to work with people, and this is how it works in the background, somebody will be one of your clients or somebody you've supported a couple of times. Hey, I had this call with somebody, it really completely changed my perspective. I started moving forward. Or somebody might be sharing a challenge like, hey, I'm working with somebody who's helped me in this area. I think they will be able to support you. usually people are if they care about the people around them, they're looking for ways to support them, and they don't have the skill sets to support them in different ways.
Yeah.
In fact, most people are frustrated by the fact that they can't support people around them. So they're looking for people to connect them with. And so you would be the one on their mind, and they will refer you to them. And that has usually has a higher conversion rate because you already have borrowed trust with them. And so and this is why it's so important for you to keep doing these calls and serving people. Even if they don't sign up with you, they will think of you because you've supported them on that one session.